Welcome to Staying Connected, a podcast where I talk to other people about their stories with VEDS or Vascular Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Staying Connected. This is your host, Katie, and before we get into the show, I want to remind you that the views, information, and opinions in these podcasts are those of the individuals involved and do not represent the opinions of the Marfan Foundation. The Marfan Foundation is not responsible for and does not verify for accuracy any of the information contained in them, nor does the information constitute medical or other professional advice or services. This show is not produced by or affiliated with the Marfan Foundation or the VEDS Movement. I hope you enjoyed the last interview on September 25th featuring Lindell Frazier, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and shared his story with VEDS. Today, we're going to hear an interview with Ashley Rose Marisch, who lives in Denver, Colorado, and was diagnosed with VEDS in 2017. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your story and your family's story in this interview and for helping to raise awareness for VEDS. It's just been really awesome getting to know you. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the interview. Hey, Ashley, thank you so much for joining me for the podcast today and for sharing your story with VEDS with everybody. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ashley Rose Marisch. I'm 31, and I just feel so grateful to have this opportunity to be here and share with all of you my VEDS diagnosis story, as well as my family's. I really, truly believe in Katie's work to build community and provide awareness with VEDS. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for you to share your story, and I'm so grateful to know you. So, when were you diagnosed with VEDS?
So I was diagnosed with VEDS when I was 27 years old in 2017. I was originally diagnosed with FMD, fibromuscular dysplasia, which is a related connective tissue condition. In 2011, my mom had a ruptured splenic aneurysm, and that's when we first found out that there was this underlying condition. She fought for her life. She needed over 90 units of blood. Since then, she's had multiple life-threatening events and is one of the strongest people I know. The other strongest person I know being my sister, Allyson. She had her first stroke in 2014 and continuously battled several life-threatening events throughout her life. Neither of them have ever let VEDS define them, but instead always used it as their superpower for strength, love, and to live their lives to its fullest. You know, for me, it's been more subtle things that I've noticed along the way in my life. I haven't had any major events yet, but it wasn't until 2017 when my sister Allyson did some more research and said, no, I don't think we have FMD, like we have VEDS. And so we all got genetic testing and sure enough, so we all three of us had it. And I wasn't completely surprised because I always had thought that there was something underlying. I've had a lot of issues with tearing muscles and just some other things that were odd to me, you know, but I didn't really realize just how devastated I would feel having gotten the diagnosis and putting a name on it. Although I wasn't completely surprised, I still felt devastated. But very soon after, our family, you know, we've always been surrounded by so much love and support from family and friends in the community. And we've held several fundraisers for a cure and awareness. And we've really turned it into a positive thing. And so there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful things that I think about when I think about my diagnosis as well. So.
Yeah, so your sister Allie found this in 2017, and that's really great that you had, you know, somebody to just, you know, do that genetic testing, I guess because of the history of FMD. So what happened next? Did you get scans? I mean, I guess when you were diagnosed with FMD, you must have already had some kind of underlying, like, artery issues, right?
Yeah, so with FMD, they, you know, if you have the bubbling of the arteries, or like in my case, I had the narrowing, and I had some pseudoaneurysms that they found For my mom and sister, there was a lot more of that for them, but there were a lot of similarities between our scans. And so they, you know, we were just going based off of that. And then the more that my sister, you know, she'd show me and she'd do research, you know, we were living together in Denver, and she just said, you know, all these different things that are going on. Like, you know, she at this point had an infarcted kidney and several strokes. And my mom had had several surgeries and had stents placed, you know, for her aneurysms. And it was becoming more and more clear, like there's, I think, a little more to this, these different symptoms that we're having and as a whole. And me with my tearing of my muscles and my gums receding and, you know, our see-through skin in some places and the easy bruising and bleeding, it was like, we should get tested for VEDS. Like, this is a related thing that we learned about at one of our conferences for FMD, and we just thought there was more, and she was dead on. I mean, she was right. It was, you know, and so that was actually a more a lot scarier of a diagnosis than FMD. My parents flew to New York and saw a specialist there, and he just said, you know, my least favorite thing is to diagnose somebody with that. It's just a lot more rare and life-threatening, but you do have a huge community of support, and you have a lot of different resources, and you're on the edge of a lot of studies, and there's a lot of research being done. And you know, we just instantly got the itch, like, we are, whatever we can do to support each other in this community and this new family that we found. How can we help change lives and raise funds and awareness? And, you know, because if you haven't heard, the thing with the rare condition is, if folks haven't heard the name or haven't learned about it somewhere, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other, you know. And so I think raising awareness is just, it does so much.
Yeah, it's so great to have you involved in that too. Just that I very much relate to that feeling of, you know, wanting to raise awareness and make a difference. And it really is, it shifts your mindset when you start doing that in a way. So it's really great to hear that has helped. That's helped me immensely.
Yeah.
So take me from 2017 to now.
So 2017, I got the urge to start, you know, doing things I never had, but carefully and safely, pushing the boundaries, but safely. I hired a personal trainer, and I wanted to do these races, and I wanted to climb mountains, you know, moving out to Colorado with my older sister, Allie. It's just like, I wanted to do all these things, and I didn't enjoy being told about these limitations. It was like, well, okay, how can I find another way to do this? For example, I've done a lot of research into how I'm going to have children, because I'm told about the risks with having kids. And it's just, you know, since 2017, I'd say I've just really, both my mom, my sister, and myself, we've just learned how to push the boundaries and find new ways to do things safely. And that's actually how I found my partner, Dane. And you know, we've just done a lot of exploring and adventuring, and everything seemed to be, you know, we just adjusted to this new way of living. And then in, you know, in 2020, things really changed again for us. My sister Allyson, on March 7th, we were out at a fundraiser for her school. She was a middle school teacher, and she collapsed due to an aortic dissection, and we lost her almost instantly. She was 34, and that was a huge game changer in how we were living in this new, how we were reinventing our lives with this underlying condition and what that really meant for our family. Because of course we knew it was life-threatening, but we didn't think it would take any of us so soon. And so, I think since then I've gone through this huge roller coaster of emotions, like, not wanting to associate myself with VEDS and being angry, and swinging it back around to just embracing life, because I know that I don't want to live the rest of my life in this dark hole. I want to live it with color, and I know Allie would want us to live it with color, and that's how she lived her life. Allie was an absolutely amazing lady. She always has taught me so much, and still does every day since she physically left this world. Especially in the last few years, Allie knew time was limited, as she sometimes would often mention that while making big decisions, big or small. But as I said before, she, learning about VEDS gave us some answers, but it never defined her or our family. She recently found the love of her life, the job of her dreams. She was never settling for anything less than what made her truly happy. And, she was always pushing the limits, singing, dancing, adventure, and challenging anyone who ever told her otherwise. My little sister, I need to really talk about my entire family, because they've all just been such a strength for me. Erica, Allie, and I have always been best friends and very close. We often reminded each other of some quotes that our mom has said throughout the years. And whenever we needed some encouragement or a pick-me-up, and when we really felt like things were kind of hard, and my mom would say, life is about the people you have in it. And then she would also say, we'd be like, Mom, how do you just, crush your goals all the time? You make it seem so easy. And she's like, oh, you just set a goal and then you do it. It's just that simple. And it was just always so inspiring. And regardless of what life threw our way, our parents always valued family and strength and love in our community. So we've always been surrounded by so much love, even in the hardest of times. We've challenged ourselves to conquer our goals with the love and support of family and friends. Something that Allie had said to us many times before passing was, I just want to throw all the good I can out into the world and see what comes back. And it's just such a beautiful sentiment. And we actually remind each other of that all the time now. And we just think about like this beautiful life that we are given, and all that beautiful time we had with my sister, and all the beautiful people we've met. And of course, it can feel frustrating when someone tells you no, or when someone's taken from you, but it's okay to sometimes not feel okay, and then to come back around to being with the people who support you and love you, and realizing that this isn't it. This isn't an end all. And for me, I believe we're all going to be together again, and I carry her with me every day. I still talk to her every single day, and I try to live as daring as I did before, and as vulnerable as I was before. And I still seek to do new things and push the boundaries, and I just do it with her still. My life has changed a lot, but a lot of it is the same, if not more. I'm more hungry to get out there and just feel the beauty that this world brings to us every day.
Yeah. She sounds so beautiful. I mean, I had never met her, but I have talked to you multiple times and heard about her and your family, and y'all are just such beautiful people, and I'm so grateful to know you.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah.
You're so beautiful, and everybody in the VEDS community is so beautiful. I can't even tell you how much of a turning point it has been for me to start working with you guys, and doing the bingo and the support group with Kids Club. I mean, there's nothing more healing than hanging out with kids, and how all the beauty that they see in the world, and how honest and true they are. And it reminds me every day just how blessed I am. And I thank you so much for being so welcoming into the second family for us.
Yeah, thank you. I love this. I love this whole community, and I think the resources you're talking about are through the VEDS movement. I'm just going to throw that in there because this podcast is separate from the VEDS movement. But
Yeah.
it's if anybody wants to go search for those, I think those are great resources, of course. So when you were younger, you talked a little bit about the like muscle tearing that you had. I think you mentioned the visible veins that you had. Were there a lot of other outward features that you had this that maybe were missed when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, for me, the biggest thing has been tearing of muscles. I was in competitive dance and I was constantly tearing muscles in my legs, and I was in competitive sports, high intensity sports like track. I tried to do the 4x4 and I tore my calf. I tried to do pole vaulting. I tore my tricep. I was like, okay, maybe I'll do long distance. So then I started doing track or cross country. And I noticed that, slow and steady wins the race. And that was like something that I was like, okay, I was just starting to really learn a lot more about my body. I couldn't just do what everyone else around me was doing, although I enjoyed it. And that's when I really started to realize I need to I can still do these things, but it has to be different. And so I've done some two-step dancing now, and I've just learned other ways to still do the things that I love. As a child, I also had a lot of headaches. We went and got some scans done and hoping that we would understand a little bit more about why that was. And we never did figure out why. I just had constant headaches. Mm-hmm. I went through different phases where it would come in and out, and it would be, it was like, am I not drinking enough water? No, I'm not really sure. And so I think that that might have been related to VEDS as well. I've had surgery on my mouth, on my gums. I have receding gums. And, every time I go to the dentist, he tells me we need to do surgery. I'm like, no, we need to wait as long as we can before we do the surgery, because this is just going to keep happening. But yeah, I had a friend in dance ask me why do you have spider webs on your veins look like spider webs on your chest? And I was like, I don't know. Am I supposed to know that? Why do you, I don't know. And I constantly just bruise really easily, and people would say what happened? And I'm like, I don't think anything really happened. I just bruise easily, and I get cut easily. And I noticed my sister and my mom do too. So just these different things that I noticed that happened to me a lot more. And so it made a lot of sense. And I even remember saying, I was, I think, a freshman in high school, and I was trying to decide if I was going to be quitting dance or not. And I just said, I wish I just could take a sample of my muscle and give it to somebody and be like, tell me what's going on with this. Why is this, happening to me? So it was almost a sigh of relief when I knew that there was something, and that it wasn't, just all in my head either. Because it didn't matter how much stretching or icing I did. It was just always an ongoing thing for me, and, keeping me up at night with the pain and everything like that. So not like anything's changed now, but at least I can, point fingers a little bit.
Hey, there is something to be said for having an answer, even if it's not a good one. I mean, I feel like there's something really to be said about that. It really puts a lot of relief that it's not in your head, that there was something. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've had subtle changes in my arteries. I do have some pseudoaneurysms and things that we're looking after, but it's not anywhere near what my sister and mom have had to keep an eye on. And they've had several surgeries. I haven't had vascular surgery yet, but yeah, I just take it day by day. And I know that it's different for each person. So, but being careful. And, I think also a big thing for me is the journey of wanting to have a child and what that looks like. And that's also caused a lot of just emotional pain and mental health. And I think about moving forward, and what's really gotten me through is, you know, never underestimate the power of therapy and someone who can walk through life with you and be vulnerable with you, and the therapies that you can do for yourself just with a positive attitude, that you can, just give yourself grace and know that, that as long as you are surrounding yourself with loved ones, and just that you are enough and doing what you can, that you are enough. And it's your birthright to be happy. So whatever that means for you, just do whatever makes you happy. I think I've gone through the roller coaster of like, I'm not okay, but that's okay too. It's like, it's okay to not be okay, and then to come back around to feeling like you are, just giving yourself the grace and the time to work through grieving. And, when you're first diagnosed, you might feel lost or devastated, and same thing with going through a loss. I mean, and that's all okay. Just know that you're not alone, and that you need to give yourself the time and do what makes you happy, and to give yourself that mental health and clarity and stability that you need for you. So
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I mean, the like it's always an up and down for me too, right? Like I have good days where I'm not thinking about it at all, but then I have days that pop up that I am like really grieving very hard. And I have to remind myself like it's okay for me to still grieve and have those days and those moments, and just kind of allow myself. It's so easy to as well just like hate on yourself for it, right? Like, oh, I should be over this by now, or it should be easier by now, or I just need to get over it. But really, it's a big thing to carry, and it's okay to have bad days with it. And just like I just love what you said. I think you said it so much better than I did. But I really think like it's so true, like giving yourself the grace to feel the feelings that you feel.
yeah, I think, well, no, you said it perfectly too. It's like, it's just being kind to yourself, and, that it's this constant roller coaster, and it's always going to be, and thinking that it's ever going to not is really what kind of tricks you into this like fake reality. It's just embracing it, and then living, pushing the limits, with what makes you happy. And I think that, the more that we, just surround ourselves with uh, folks who will be vulnerable with us and be brave with us, like that's the best medicine for us. I had a lot of questions answered when I found out, but of course there's always still so many more. And I think just coming to this point of knowing that it doesn't define me. And I've learned a new way to dance now, with my partner Dane, and I've learned to see my life in full color again, since Allie has passed. And I work every day to live without fear, and just enjoy the present. I used to spend so much time worrying about losing someone close to me and thinking I could somehow prevent it. I was holding my sister when she passed. I was there, and I still couldn't save her. I couldn't control that it was her time to go. But what I've learned is that I can live out her beautiful legacy now, as well as mine. Time is short here for all of us, and I'd rather spend my time saving to help save lives in her honor, and instead of crawl into this dark hole that I was in. I know my sister wouldn't want me to let life pass me by without color and adventure and passion.
Yeah.
And if you just live your adventure and do it with your whole heart, and surround yourself with the people, you love, and as much as you can, even if it's just a simple phone call, learn from your past, and to love your present is what I've really come out, on the other side of. And it's, of course, it's an ongoing thing. It's not this mountain you climb and then it's over. It's an everyday journey. And I talk to my sister still every day, because I know she's here with me and it brings me peace. And so I think just doing what brings you peace and joy every day is what helps. Like volunteering with the VEDS movement and spending time with kids. Um, it helps more than I can say.
I love that you said a couple times in there, like you found a new way to dance. And I love
Yeah.
that. I love that saying so much.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, for a little bit of time, and I think this happens, like we just kind of crawl into the spot of like being told we can't do something, but of course you can. You just have to find a new way to do it.
Yeah, I
So,
love that. So if there was one thing that you wanted like medical professionals to know about what it's like living with VEDS, is there something?
yes. So when I think about that, I try to narrow it down to one thing, but really some of the things I would like for medical professionals to know and think about is that although they could never truly understand what it's like to have VEDS and lose someone they love from it, that although they couldn't, it's like if they're willing to try, all we need is someone who is understanding of us and our pain as we search for a cure and to live our lives with this condition every day. And when I say someone who's understanding of us, I just mean someone who will listen to us, listen to what we have to say as we know our bodies best. And if they don't know something, do what it takes to step outside of their comfort zone and learn it. Or, asking us or those who have studied us is really the golden ticket to really understanding how to best care for us. I ask to please set aside what you think you might understand and know and open up your heart and mind to the rare possibilities and challenges that VEDS brings to the table. And please know that you're working with a community of beautiful humans who are constantly having to say goodbye to loved ones and fight for our health and without answers or closure of why. But together we still manage to fight for victory and stick together with love and everything we've got and never give up hope that there is something more for us. I ask them to not only hear us, but fight alongside us and join our community. I ask that if you're at all stubborn and not willing to be brave and vulnerable in your practice alongside us, then please send us to someone who will and who has the time, because we really don't. And lastly, I do really want to thank every medical professional who has dedicated their lives to finding a cure and giving us hope and treating us like their own family. So, that's a mouthful, but I've thought a lot about that. And
No, thank you. I think it's perfect and it is so true. I mean, it having a medical professional who knows everything about VEDS is kind of unrealistic, right? Depending on where you live. But having a medical professional who is willing to learn or willing to just ask the experts or willing to have an open mind is so important. And I love that you really thank the medical professionals in this community because they have become part of our community. They're part of our VEDS family that I think about, and they've truly been absolutely wonderful. And I just
absolutely, they really have.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Is there one final thing you would want the listeners to know about your story or a piece of advice you would want to give them?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for having me. And my final thing I'd like to say is just I know how hard it can feel sometimes, but just know that you're not alone and that it's your birthright to be happy and to do what makes you happy and to never um, to never feel that you're alone and to always reach out, because you have a huge family and you don't even know it yet that are all here waiting to be with you and to walk alongside you in this journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Ashley, for sharing your story and your family's story with VEDS on the podcast. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening. If you like this show, if you find it informative, if you find it helpful, it would really mean a lot to me if you shared it to help us raise awareness of VEDS together. This podcast and all of you, the whole community, they're just so close to my heart, and I love you all so much. Be sure to subscribe to the show and stay tuned for the next episode on October 23rd. We will be talking to Dr. Melissa Russo, a high-risk obstetrician and geneticist, about her involvement with the VEDS community and her research. Thanks so much again, everyone, and I will see you soon.